Hey everybody, before the video starts, just a quick reminder that you could take guitar or bass lessons with me at theartofguitar.com or theartofbass.com. And I'm excited to announce that even though everybody seems to be raising their prices everywhere you look, the Art of Guitar is still $10.95 per month. And I know, private lessons can be really expensive, so I think this is a really good alternative for people and a great way to get started on your journey to playing guitar or bass. So enjoy the video. Thanks. Hi everybody, it's Mike here from The Art of Guitar. This is going to be a fun video. I've wanted to do this for a little while, but I had a subscriber recently leave a comment that got me thinking about this concept again, that the three albums that most Metallica fans, I would have to say more old school fans, consider like their best three albums would be Ride the Lightning, Master of Puppets, and Injustice for All. Now, don't get me wrong, I love Kill 'Em All. I love the Black Album. In fact, my old teenage metal band used to play half of Kill 'Em All. Like we would play it in practice, we would play some of them live, and I always had a lot of fun playing any song off of Kill 'Em All. And we started to get into guitar around the time the Black Album came out, so that was a huge influence. It even got to the point where, because I love the Black Album, I would tell other Metallica fans that were older, and they would kind of roll their eyes and be like, man, that's like the new stuff, you really just got to stick with the older stuff. But today I'm going to be focusing on the 8 traits that all 3 of these albums have: Ride the Lightning, Master of Puppets, Justice for All. Now I'm going to be saying those 3 album names back to back a lot this video, so I'm just going to shorten it, I think, to RMJ. One of the most obvious commonalities between the 3 albums is that Flemming Rasmussen produced and recorded them. He didn't mix all of them, but he was there for the recording process and for producing them, and that's no small feat. Well, he must have had a big influence on those albums because they all 3 have these distinct qualities that I'll be talking about more in this video. And if you listen to Kill 'Em All, it's like a whole different world, isn't it? Sometimes when you listen to an album like Master of Puppets and then you go back to Kill 'Em All, even though I love Kill 'Em All, it does have more of a demo sounding quality to it, doesn't it? It's still professional as hell, don't get me wrong, but in comparison to, like I said, Master of Puppets, it does have a little bit of that more lo-fi quality, if you will. On the opposite side of that, though, you have the Black Album, which sounds super produced, because it was. And that was produced by Bob Rock. So if you ever watch A Year and a Half in the Life of Metallica, which I want to do a video about as well, you could see all of the painstaking recording process that they went through to create that masterpiece. That being said, though, it is quite a bit different than the core 3 that I'm talking about today. The next thing I want to mention are the album covers themselves. So the artwork for the covers, if you look at, let's just take the first 5 albums. If you look at the artwork for each one, you could tell that Ride, Master, and Justice have just a different level to them. You could really see a definite depth that the others seem to be missing. Not only are the logos in 3D, but it just feels more 3-dimensional just because of the layout. Master of Puppets, it's obvious that it's very 3-dimensional looking. Ride the Lightning, you have that chair floating in those, looks like painted clouds. And of course the lightning bolts. And then Justice, is a work of art on its own. It's very 3-dimensional, even though, the logo looks like it's more embossed than just crazy 3D, but it still has that quality where it looks like it has depth. They also have sort of a hand-drawn graphic novel type quality to them, don't they? Like, I think Ride the Lightning was put together by a team, and I think they used just bits and pieces of different things and put it together, but I believe Master of Puppets and Justice were both actually created like a work of art. So I don't know if someone just hand-painted them and then they took a picture of it or however they did it, but I know that they all still have that kind of comic bookish, old school metal type cover quality to them. In the vein of like Iron Maiden, I would say. You probably noticed that the 3 albums I'm talking about today have more of a complexity when it comes to the composition and for the dynamics of the album. Try listening to Master of Puppets or a song like Call of Cthulhu or pretty much anything on Injustice for All, and then go back to Kill 'Em All. And Kill 'Em All sounds a lot more straightforward, even though there are times in Kill 'Em All where they will break down into something in the middle and then, finish off strong, like the 4 Horsemen, for example, where they kick into what Dave Mustaine calls the Sweet Home Alabama section. Big wheels keep on turning. Well, in Kill 'Em All, it sounds like they're slowing down, but they're not happy about it. I don't know if you agree with me, but it seems like they're like, okay, we'll do a little dynamic part here. Okay, screw it, let's go back to rockin'. Whereas with the RMJ albums, you could feel like they're really trying to soak in and stew in those dynamic moments a lot longer. It's almost like they embrace it finally. And then when it does get to a heavier part, it just becomes that much heavier because of that dynamic shift. They purposely got away from that for the Black Album. I believe they were going for more straight ahead songs songs for that and shorter as well. I remember Kirk Hammett going, yeah, one time we were playing Injustice for All, the song live, and I looked at the crowd and they kind of looked bored, I think is what he said, and we realized that we really had to change things up. I recall buying the actual records for Injustice for All, and it came with 2 records, and sometimes one side would have 2 songs on them. So it kind of shows you how massive some of these tracks were. All 3 of the RMJ albums start off with a very intricate, extended intro. They're also all antithetical of the rest of the song. So it's almost like a separate thing. They don't go back into it. They don't use it as a theme or anything like that. It's just, here's the intro, and now we're going to do the song. But in all 3 of those intros, you could hear that they're multi-layered. If you ever take the Blackened intro and reverse it, you could really hear what they put into it. It's this insane masterpiece of multi-tracked parts that work perfectly together. And all 3 of those intros have that same quality, where they overdub another part, all the guitars are harmonizing, and it just becomes this epic intro that leads into the rest of the epic album. Fitting. Now, the next thing I'll talk about is what one of my subscribers actually brought up to me. I'm going to try to find the original comment because I forgot exactly their screen name. But he was like, did you ever notice that the first song on all 3 of those albums have this weird illusion to them where the beat sort of confuses your ear so you hear the riff differently than it's supposed to be? I thought about it. I'm like, yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. I mean, Blackened is a great example of that. But Fight Fire with Fire, the riff is so different if you put a straight beat over the top of it, which I've done videos for before. Check this out. Isn't that crazy? And I'm currently learning how to master, pardon the pun, the riffs for Battery. And I could play them before, but now I'm really trying to get it down solid. And it's tricky because of that really fast thrash beat, the offbeat. It can confuse you to where the 1 is sometimes. So you really got to stay on track. You really got to stay on top of it while you're playing it. Otherwise, you just lose it. So that audio illusion is something that these 3 albums have in common when it comes to the very first track. This is one that kind of freaked me out because I was like, okay, well, if you take a look at Ride the Lightning, the album is called Ride the Lightning, and the second track is Ride the Lightning, right? Then I thought, weird, that's the same with Master of Puppets too, you know? Master of Puppets, one of their biggest tunes, is the second song off of Master of Puppets. Then I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Same with Injustice for All. So that's another commonality that you cannot deny is of some sort of formula. Whether they knew it or not, that's the case. The second track of each album is the name of the album. And by the way, speaking of complexity, those album-titled songs are very, very complex. I mean, my band played Ride the Lightning for the talent show, and when it gets to that middle section, things just go nuclear. The song Master of Puppets, as you know, it changes into the clean tone guitar, then there's the dueling lead part, and it finishes heavy, but man, there's so many sections to that tune, it's very, very complex. And of course, the song I talked about earlier that Kirk Hammett said they were playing and the crowd was kind of losing interest, and Justice for All. I mean, if you ever tried to play that before, it just feels like the never-ending song. Another commonality of the RMJ, I will never get used to saying that, group of albums is that they all contain one epic instrumental. This formula that they had is just so amazing. It's so crazy they ever got away from it, but I understand. So in Ride the Lightning, you have the Call of Cthulhu, which is a very difficult song to play, really well orchestrated as well, and it ends really powerfully, as you know, probably. Orion, one of the most fun songs to play. And there's even a bass solo part that I used to think was a guitar doing it, but Cliff just went all out on this song. And then, of course, in honor of Cliff, To Live Is To Die off of Injustice for All. And the eighth and final commonality between these 3 legendary Metallica albums is that they each include a quintessential ballad, and whether they planned it or not, were all the 4th track of that album. So let me know if I overlooked anything. You know, I really racked my brain these past couple days because I thought, man, maybe I'll find another just strange coincidence between the 3 albums. And I'm sure there are some more, but those are the 8 that I could come up with that I think are really, really essential when it comes to the formula that seem to make them classic albums. Okay, everyone, thank you for watching. Hopefully you like my new artwork over here over my shoulder. It's been a while since I've added anything to this wall, so I thought I would just throw that up there. But I love it because I'm big into retro stuff, you know, and watching Jem and the Misfits was a big thing for some of us. I'm not afraid to admit it. Okay, everyone, we'll catch you soon. Bye-bye.